And now, part three of my conversation with Bobby Seale, co founder of the Black Panther Party.
Explosion of the party. Sort of, you're an organization in Northern California, you're making inroads, but then you had this event that really catapulted you all to renown at least within the Black community in Northern Northern California. And that was the killing of Denzel Dowd. Can you talk about that moment and how that catapulted you guys to more notoriety and more people become interested in your program?
All right. I told you that earlier in a point that I created a North Richmond tutorial program in 1964. That's 2.5 years before I ever started the Black Panther Party. Okay. Denzel Dowd was killed in 1960. My God, I get my dates wrong here. Denzel Dowd was killed.
April 1966, I think.
It was in 1967. It was 1967 he was killed.
No, April 1st, 1967.
April 1st, 1967, right. This is when he was killed. Those same people in that community saw me and Huey's picture on the front pages of the San Francisco Examiner standing in front of our Black Panther Party office. Huey holding a shotgun that I bought him. And I had my Army 45 pistol hanging on my shoulder. And this was the beginning of the organization. My point, they saw this in the newspaper and they contacted another young man, Mark Comfort, to get us to come out there. And because Bobby Seale used to work out here, 2 years earlier. And that's what we did. We went out there to investigate that. And then I told Huey what he had to do since he's in law school, that you have to help these people set up a meeting with the DA or somebody in the city government. I says, and Huey, you got to lead this. I said, now you're the Minister of Information. I said, I'm the leader as the organizer of the Black Panther Party. I said, but you Minister of Defense. And so I made Huey, because Huey didn't know much. He's 7 years younger than me, and he never had the life experience level that I had. But I put him out there and put him into that situation. So we got meetings with the DA, and the DA said he was killed in the county area of North Richmond. So he was outside of the city. You have to go see the sheriff. So we went to Martinez in Contra Costa County to do that. And then, of course, we looked up in the newspapers a little bit later and saw that Mulford, because we had already been patrolling police in Oakland, California, and observing police. And we would read the law to them, with our guns. I made Huey first research every law concerning the guns, including Fish and Game Code laws. And he did that, because he was in night law school. So with his professor, his private law school, he came up with all the laws concerning that. And I said, I want you to connect them with our Bill of Rights that's in the Constitution. And I said, especially the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, and the Eighth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment is illegal search and seizure. The Eighth Amendment is you cannot subject prisoners to cruel and unusual punishment, et cetera, and so on. These are the things I made Huey do. I says, no, we're not going to go out here and patrol police till you get this done. So once we got that down, and for us, when we patrolled the police that first time, we was really organized. I trained everybody how not to point the weapons. We had all the laws on the guns, et cetera, how you cannot have a live round in the chamber of a rifle or a shotgun while riding in the car, et cetera, and so on, this kind of stuff. But Huey has finally found some state Supreme Court rulings, et cetera. So when we went out in Oakland, and that was, I'm telling you, that was the one night we had 14 people, one sister, her name was Geraldine. She was only in my organization about 2-3 months. Anyway, she was the only one there with her. She had a big 44 pistol that Richard Iocca had given her. I carried my Army 45. He carried his shotgun, a couple other rifles, and the rest of them had handguns. And the ones that had handguns had stacks and papers of the 10-point platform, copies of the 10-point platform program in each hand. So, I mean, you have to imagine this. So there we are, uniform, it's night. I mean, it's 9:30 at night, you know what I mean? And we walk up, the cop is sitting out in the streets in the third lane. It's a big wide street, 7th Street in West Oakland, et cetera. And the cop is really in his passenger side seat. His arrestee is standing at the back of the car. I lined my people up. He hadn't even seen us. And some old man had come out of the store, because it was a convenience store, a liquor store, and Slim Jenkins nightclub. And he come out of the store, and the old man say, what they doing, line up there with them sticks in their hand. And so another brother say, hey, Joe, be quiet. They got guns. And the old man said, I'm getting out of here. And Huey turns around and says, no one leave, everyone leave. We have a right to stand and observe these police officers. And as Huey turned around, the cop has gotten out of his car. He got his knuckle hand on, say, you have no right to observe me. And this is how good we were. Huey says, no, California State Supreme Court ruling states that every citizen has the right to stand and observe a police officer carrying out their duty as long as they stand a reasonable distance away. A reasonable distance in that particular ruling was constituted as 10 feet. I'm standing approximately 20 feet from you, and we'll observe you whether you like it or not. And the sister, who came out very intelligent looking, nice, well sister, she had a cocktail glass in her hand. She'd come out of Slim Drink. She says, say it again. Say it again. The cop says, is that gun loaded? He would say, if I know it's loaded, that's good enough. Well, I have a right. He recited something, United States Supreme Court ruling, blah, blah, blah. You cannot remove my property from it without due process of law. Step back. You cannot touch my weapon. And a tall black brother over to the right, he said, man, what kind of Negroes is these up here telling the cops the law? That was something that we did that one time, the second week of January it was. I'll never forget that. And the cop looked and says, is that gun loaded? So pointing the gun to the ground, Huey says, clack, clack. He jacked around in the chamber of his shotgun. He said, if I know it's loaded, that's good enough, he told the cop. And the other guys, 4 guys, had rifles. They jacked rounds off in the chamber. Well, that shocked the cop. Everybody looked around. The 20 or 30 people on the cop said, oh man, don't be shooting this way. And the cop looked, and he just looked and said, whoa. And he went and got his arrestee, put him in the car, shut the side doors, and he stops. And he sees the sister, because it's nighttime and the lights have a little earrings is blinking, and she's got a big 44 pistol. And everybody's in uniform. Everybody's in uniform. And the cop just had to take one look to make sure that was a woman, got in his car and drove off. And I says, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bobby Seale. I'm chairman of the Black Panther Party. This is my friend here, Huey Newton. That's the minister of defense of our organization. And we're going to organize the people here. We're going to get people registered to vote. And in the process of trying to get people to register to vote, we're going to try to take over some of the political seats in the county seat, in the city council, what have you, et cetera, so we can get some fair shares equity out of our tax monies so we can get on with the human liberation struggle that we're all about, blah, 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 blah. Our office is located, et cetera. If you're going to come up Saturday at 2 p.m., et cetera, we can explain more to you about the Black Panther Party. That was the beginning of the Black Panther Party.
Now go back to that Denzel Dow, because his murder really catapulted you all in Northern California.
Right. Now remember, we never did no more than 8 or 9 patrols for that whole period from October to May 2nd, 1967. Denzel Dow happened before May 2nd. It happened in April. And that's when we went and started investigating for him. So we got a meeting with the DA in the city of Richmond. He took us to the sheriff's department in Martinez, and we went and had a meeting up there. And then Mulford, State Assemblyman Mulford, who represented the Oakland, Berkeley Assembly's position, we found out in the newspapers was putting a bill through to try to stop us from observing the police. In other words, what we were doing was quite legal. I mean, to stand a reasonable distance away, like the law had said, and we have a right to stand and observe you whether you like it or not. And we just happened to have our guns. Now, we never pointed guns at people because that was illegal. If you pointed a load, we knew the law. You don't point up a gun at a person unless you're trying to defend yourself. That was the key. So we organized the situation. I told Huey, I'm going to take care of this one. I says, I wanted you to do the others. I says, but I'm going to take. So I led an armed delegation to the California State Legislature to read a statement from us, the Black Panther Party, in opposition to Mulford trying to put a bill in to try to stop us from carrying guns and observing police. And they were saying we were terrorizing the community. We weren't terrorizing the community. The community loved us. The very fact that we were there with the law and could articulate the law in that way and say we are here. And as an organization, if you try to attack us, we will defend ourselves. Now, if you want to arrest us, we take the arrest.